Hello everybody, my name is Ratnos, and in this video we are going to take a look at Neltharus, another Dragonflight dungeon that's available for testing on the alpha here. I was playing Damage Evoker for this dungeon run as well, although I've also done this dungeon, I think, as a tank. Maybe I haven't tanked this one yet, but I've tanked the other two at least. But yeah, Damage Evoker, pretty fun in here, I would say. You start off just killing these two Kalashi wardens that you kind of have to kill to get to the dungeon, and then you can either head left or you can head right here. Either one is a fine choice. We've been going left the times I've done this dungeon, but again, I think you could go either way and it would be fine. This dungeon, you don't really update your checkpoint anytime that you die. You're just kind of always showing up right at the start of the dungeon, but it's never too far of a run back, except to the third boss is kind of a long run back that I'll show you in a bit. The mobs here don't have too much super important abilities. There's one ability that I really want to highlight here. You can see that the Ore Elementals actually have a bit of a shield on them. There's this brutal strike that is happening to the tank. Looks like it's a little bit of a frontal as well. But there's these casters. Let's skip ahead a little bit here. These thaumaturges that cast. There's that molten core that's interruptible, but then there's magma conflagration that's not interruptible. And you can see it does a lot. It actually does a lot of damage if you let that thing full channel. You want to go in and use stops on it. Stuff like I used my Drakthir knock-up to stop that one. If you don't do that, people will die to the cast for sure, though. And you can see as we move into this first room over on the left-hand side here, a lot of options. You could do a big pull in this area if you wanted, or you could do just this pack and skip all the others in this room, depending on how count works out in this dungeon. Yeah, multiple different options here. A little bit of swirly dodge. And here's, look at, again, there was that molten thing doing one tick already did like 20% of Johnny's health there. And if you let it ramp up, it really does get lethal. Again, just killing off some of the little elementals as we rock up the stairs here. We have Plunderer, Spine Crusher, and again, the Thaumaturge, which is the one that has that big, important magma ball to stop. If you have something like Blood Elf here, I think you can use that to remove the little shields from the Ore Elementals, but otherwise, yeah, there's Magma Conflagration, and there you can see it's actually channeling on me, so watch my health here. 2 ticks already took me down below half before we were able to stop it and keep me from dying, but if you don't, that will be very killy. First boss of the dungeon here, just up in this little room to the side, it's Magma Tusk. Magma Tusk is not a particularly complicated fight, but it actually does ramp up in damage quite a bit. Basically, the way the fight works is that over time, it grows more and more tentacles, and the more tentacles it has, the more damage it does with the unavoidable lava breath ability. So you can see it starts off with the 2 tentacles graphic, but basically it'll start getting a buff that gives it more and more tentacles. So here's this lava spray. This lava spray targets a player and is not dodgeable or anything. Very little damage to me on that first cast, as you can see. The boss also does charges. It'll pick a random player and charge at them. You probably want to just take this right into a wall nearby, and then it will start shooting out lava waves after those charges as well, based on the number of tentacles it has. So there you can see it's done its first volatile mutation. It's got an extra tentacle, which is indicated by that buff on its frame. Now that lava spray is doing extra damage, and after every time it charges, it's going to start shooting out increasing amounts of lava waves at the group. So the longer this fight goes on, the more deadly it's going to get. There's that lava wave, as you can see, and yeah, lava spray, again, doing even more damage now on the targets. This is going to be a boss where on M+, I think it's going to be a pretty worrying one, where it's like, oh, how do we survive the 6th lava spray or whatever, is going to be a big question. But on low difficulties, if you can kill it before it gets too many tentacles, really not too much going on that fight. After this, you can jump down towards the middle, which you'll want to do whether you kill that boss first or third. You're going to jump down here. If it's third, you'll just turn left and go fight the last boss. If you killed it first, then you're going across to the other wing and killing the mobs over on the right-hand side here. Little annoying birdies here that don't do too much. I think these are maybe even non-elites. Yeah, non-elite birdies. Just do some casts on you. Pretty easily taken care of. Yeah, they do that Ember Reach cast. A little bit annoying to move these mobs, but yeah, you can take care of them fairly quickly. Then we also have in this area Overseer Lahar, a little mini-boss. Does this Eruptive Crush AoE around the tank, and then that does a bunch of small swirlies, so anybody in melee is going to have to watch their feet there. It doesn't look like those swirlies go too far aside from that. The Kalashi Hunters here also do an important ability, which you'll see me taking here this Binding Spear. Normally there's a swirly on the ground to indicate where that's going to be, but you can see it didn't show up that time. And so I got hit by that spear. It incapacitates you for either 10 seconds or until somebody kills the spear, which in this group, nobody's ever going to help me kill the spear. There's that Binding Spear cast again from that hunter. So I think it's something about the Drakthir model where it won't show the swirly below you because you're too tall, but you'll see some of those swirlies later. Yeah, let's keep skipping ahead here. Again, you can pull or skip mobs from either side of this hallway, and you might be able to just skip it entirely depending on where you want to get your count from. But other than that, there's that frontal, a Magma Fist, a frontal you want to get out of. It stays aimed where it was aimed, so the tank also should dodge that. There's the Binding Spear. You can see the swirly from where that spear was going. So again, move out of that, and hopefully the spear always shows up, but if it doesn't, just move out of wherever it's aiming. There's this little chain on the wall here that I couldn't quite see how much damage it was doing. It doesn't seem like much, but you could grab this chain and then run it over enemies. You could see it like broke there, but it didn't actually do all that much damage. So I'm not sure if that either is going to do more damage later or get removed or do something else other than what it was doing there. Maybe it's just not fully working yet. But there is indeed a little chain thing on the wall there. And yeah, you got the Bone Tenders here that do a little heal if you don't interrupt it there, that Mending Clay. And they're also kind of hard mobs to move. Actually, maybe that's not the Bone Tender. Oh, it is the Bone Tenders. Yeah, you can see the Bone Tender. It kind of just stays where it is and casts Bone Toss and heal if you're not careful. So yeah, you do want to find ways to bring that into the group. For instance, the Drakthir Knock Forward, what I use here to bring it into the group. Nice little piece of value in the Drakthir kit. And then once you take out this pack, you get the first, or this could be the first boss or the second boss, depending on which wing you go to. Fairly simple boss here, only has a few mechanics. Dragon Strike just picks a person, attacks them, and puts a bleed on them. It targets the person before it chooses them, so you can defensive, depending on the level. Grounding Spear, also you can see targeting Theon in there. And now he's got that spear on him. And the way that this works is you need to take the spear over the boss. So you can see he's not quite doing it, not quite dragging it over the boss here. But what you want to do, yeah, is you want to move it sideways across the boss. And by doing that, you will stun the boss and cause it to take increased damage. And yeah, you're going to want to... That's basically the core mechanic of this fight. Other than that, it just picks random people to bleed, and he does a frontal magma wave that you're going to want to dodge. Pretty well telegraphed there. Yeah, just don't stand in the fire and kill the boss before too much else happens. You can see I'm using Fly with Me there, the Drakthir ability, to help break that one. Pretty cool. Okay, yeah, so after this, you get a little bit of a weird hallway. This hallway that's coming up has been a little buggy on Alpha. I assume they'll be fixing that soon. Again, same mobs that we were talking about before. Bone Tenders that are annoying to move and cast heal if you're not careful. Hunters that do a spear you want to dodge. And trainees that do a frontal that you're going to want to avoid. Then over here, these are the mobs that... These mobs are like the ones up in the hammocks. You can see they like snap down and start evading. Pretty fun, hopefully fixed thing there. So all these mobs are evading for a little while. But again, same kind of mobs, same deal with these. You get onto this little staircase, another hunter here. Again, we already know what that does. And then you start getting to the top here, and we get another set of mobs here. Lava bearers that just do throw lava. That makes a ground degen that slowly grows over time, and also is a swirly up front, along with the little lava flames that cast melt, which I think just does tank damage, but is interruptible. So kill off this iron torch as well that has a frontal scorching breath there. You can see very pretty animation there on that fire breath. And then this is a pack with 2 bone splitters and an iron torch. There's those bone splitters getting, I think, mass grips together here. A lot of stuff going on in this, including a little AoE circle around me. Once you kill off this pack, you get to the Iron Torch Commander. This thing has Scorching Fuselade. Your whole group wants to spread out during this. Does damage to everybody, but of course more if you're stacked. It's not too bad, but maybe if you're full melee, it's going to be a little bit annoying. Not sure if there's enough space in melee. Also cast Conflagrant Battery, which is a bunch of swirlies that you dodge. Once the commander's dead, we got a fairly big pull here that includes a blacksmith. Blacksmith, so there's the moat. The moat cast is actually interruptible from the Iron Torch that's putting the red circles around people. The blacksmith seems to mostly just do tank stuff. Didn't 100% see if it did anything else important. Then you have this boss here, Forge Master Gorkek. You can jump down and fight it without fighting too much of the trash here, but the two blacksmiths on the side you are going to want to kill. The blacksmiths actually do quite a bit of group-wide damage. If you pull the boss, these two blacksmiths do come first, but you can do the blacksmiths without pulling the boss. And yeah, the blacksmiths do this forge stomp that does start ramping up damage. The boss itself also does a lot of raid damage, so you may end up wiping if you're not careful here. The boss also has this Infernal Axe that basically throws an axe at somebody, does damage to them, and then makes a cross off of them. You're going to need to be careful of. We actually end up wiping to this, and yeah, then we do kill off the blacksmiths, but we do end up having a little bit of a wipe to this. And this is actually one of the longest run-back sections as well here. So you can see we onked and rezzed, but a couple people released. So we wait for them to come back, and it takes a solid minute, 2 minutes to have the DK run all the way back here. So yeah, you can see quite a while, 2 minutes of a run back up to this point. So this is definitely the part of the dungeon that's worst to wipe in, is right up here. So yeah, this boss has Might of the Forge, just does AoE damage. Volcanic Axe targets a player and then makes a cross off of their location, kind of like the Plaguefall boss, the jumpy around one. Heated Swings, just doing some damage to the tank, then it knocks them back and does a jump at them. Forge Storm, making swirlies that you want to dodge. Luckily not too much raid damage going out now, and it just kind of keeps rotating between these abilities. Back to the Right of the Forge. This is going to be big healer cooldowns and high keys, because this is a lot of damage already on Heroic. And yeah, just keeps repeating between that and then Volcanic Axe, and then the Tank Swings ability, and then the swirlies for everybody to dodge. So yeah, there's Heated Swings, knock up, knock back the tank, and then jump at their location. And yeah, that's all there is to that boss. Escape here, kill off a couple more trash mobs, and now the last boss of the dungeon is right near the entrance. So we'll kill some trash to get back down to the entrance from either side. Ooh, I leveled up. Got a nice new talent point. But yeah, so you get back to, let me show where it is. Back to, this is the entrance, that thing we crossed across to go from the left wing to the right wing. And you maybe even want to die to get back sooner. And then you get back to where there was a lava waterfall. You can just skip right through here. There's some trash on the sides, but I wouldn't recommend grabbing it. I don't think this trash, I think I pulled it once and it was very annoying, so not 100% sure what it did, but you don't have to pull it. You can just go straight into the last boss. And this is the last boss that is fairly simple. Not too much going on with it. The big thing, there's this intermission that you need to grab these gold piles during. So yeah, other than that, boss fight starts off. No mechanics for a little while. Dragon's Kiln, frontal, dodge. I guess not frontal. It aims at I think it aims at a random person in the group. Molten Gold comes out. You can see that's put a debuff on Thune over there. Just a little dot, and I think it drops something when it expires as well. Burning Ember, making an ad, and an AoE ground puddle, and then the ad fixates onto somebody. This ad doesn't even have that much health, though. I basically cleave it down for a lot just by hitting it with my Fire Breath there. Then here comes Magma Shield. So when the boss casts Magma Shield, everybody has to go and use a gold pile. The gold piles all have items that are all slightly different, but basically they all do huge amounts of damage to absorb shields. And so you just throw a few of those at the boss, and then that breaks the boss's absorb shield and stuns it, and then you kill the boss. So yeah, not too much going on here. Definitely a few things to dodge, but most of them are pretty telegraphed, pretty dodgeable. And then in that intermission, you want to just murder the boss real quick. That's Neltharus. The trash mobs and the bosses here have seemed pretty fun, pretty interactive. I like the look of this dungeon a lot. Obviously, it's a lot of red and orange on red and orange, but that's fine. And yeah, quite a fun dungeon. Overall, looking forward to doing this one when Dragonflight comes out. Hope you enjoyed this little preview video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.